you, Casey. You betcha. Thank you. How are you doing, Larry? All right. Thank you. Again, if I could have your attention, I'd like to call everybody together again. And I'll do this. As we get started this morning, Mary Bishop is going to come and lead in our invocation. And she's right here. Here's Mary. Let's remain standing.
Hello, I'm Mary Bishop. I'm in charge of the invocation, so I set up the schedule, and it's always my pleasure to get to have anybody new that would like to give the invocation. You can just let me know. I wanted to just tell you a little bit. You know, I know some people don't like to get up in front of the mic, but do you remember the old Toastmasters? Raise your hand if you remember Toastmasters. The purpose of Toastmasters was to get you up in front of the mic and get you comfortable speaking or doing an invocation. So I wanted to give you kind of a little pattern that I was taught. You give your gratitude, thanksgiving, praise. Second, you kind of humble yourself and say, We're not all we can be, Lord, but help us. And the last is to ask and petition. So there's 3 parts to an invocation, but it should be short. And you can read a poem, you can say the Irish blessing, so you can do whatever you want to whatever your style is. But now I'm going to give an invocation, and I'm going to try to pattern it after what I just said. So if you'll bow your heads with me. Wait, okay.
President Jeff is having surgery in his eye today, and so we need to pray for him. So that's why I'm here and he's not.
Okay,
so
good.
Wanted to mention that.
Good. And that would be a part of our petition at the end. So, okay, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Let's take a deep breath and relax into the moment. Father, we praise and thank you for who you are. You have blessed us beyond measure, and we thank you. Father, we ask for your help in the conflict in the Middle East, for our brothers and sisters, that it will be resolved. Father, we ask for help in times of trouble. Father, we thank you and praise you that you hear our prayers and you answer. In God's name, amen.
Amen. Great. You may be seated. I'm sorry. Wait a second. Yeah, you can be seated. I've got that right. All right. Oh, the pledge. You're right. Mary, you forgot the pledge. I'll do it for you, okay? Are you ready? The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now our national anthem. Now you can be seated. That's what happens when the B team is running the show. So anyway, at this time we want to have the Happy Bucks. Does anyone have anything to say? Now Richard is going to be taking the microphone around, so you might be able to be heard by everyone. Yes, it on. Just put it up to your mouth. I think. That's great.
Turn it off and back on.
Ah, there we go.
Well, hello,
There we go.
Tricia Cunningham, and I hear we have a record number of people coming to the food bank tomorrow to volunteer. If you're coming tomorrow, raise your hand. Yay, that's something to be happy about. And I'm also happy to be here on time. I got 3 hours of sleep last night because I went to the Garth Brooks concert in Vegas. I was at a Feeding America conference and stayed over an extra night, but it's glad to be with you. And final happy thing is my daughter's in her last month. She's going to bless us with a granddaughter next month. So
That's great.
I wanted to let you all know that this is Earth Day weekend and that there are events going on throughout the city depending on what you are interested in helping preserve. I wanted to let you know that there's also going to be education on, that's much better. Education on air pollution from the 2 asphalt shingle factories that are here in Dallas. One on Singleton that is very close to people who have lived there a long time, and also in Joppe, and I'm going to learn it, in Joppe, where Shingle Mountain was, where they piled up shingles right next door to a woman's house. There's going to be an educational program down near Joppe, where they're going to have professors from A&M come and speak on different types of pollution. There's going to be a rally at Fish Trap Lake, which is across the street, Singleton, from the GAF factory. And then on Monday, there's going to be an activist program, I don't know if you can call it a program, where people with signs are going to march down Singleton Avenue and have a sit down at the entrance to the GAF plant. So you might want to watch for that on TV.
All right. And
I
also,
like it when you said Shingleton Boulevard.
Jeff, by the way, President Jeff is going to speak on Tuesday at that conference. So that Rotary is being recognized pretty significantly on Tuesday of that conference.
for their hunger relief effort.
And for the World Hunger, absolutely. Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Richard. Our marketplace advertiser, Mark, would you come up and lead it and let us know who that is? Pardon me? Oh, guest, gosh. I am the B team, I tell you what. Is there anyone here that is a guest you'd like to be introduced?
So my Uber driver who picked me up from the airport is here, my husband Greg. He'll be there tomorrow too, but you know, he's my Uber driver.
Farshad, stand up. It's my friend Farshad Marsban. He's a personal injury attorney. He's been here a few times and keeps coming back, so I think somebody needs to talk to him about membership. Awesome. All right, good deal. Great to have you.
Right. Okay.
Thanks. Jeff Goodman, so come once before, friends of a few people in the club, Tracy Gomes, Mark Kasher, Happy Franklin, Rob right here next to me, Eggemeyer. So a good speaker today, so I thought I'd come back.
All right. Ben has someone.
I've got a good friend, Jerry Story. He has a storied background.
Oh, no.
And he, like all of us, are great enthusiasts of sports, and we certainly appreciate and admire Joe Trahan and all that he does for Channel 8. Jerry, he probably wouldn't be embarrassed, but he comes from a background that is storied. His grandfather was a member of the Nuremberg trial team. And he also was president of the Dallas Bar, the Texas Bar, and the American Bar Association. He was the first real active dean at the SMU Law School, and there's a building there named after him, the Story Law Building. And Jerry would probably be embarrassed, like I said, but he'd probably say, "Aw, shucks, somebody had to do it."
Okay, yeah.
And there's a family resemblance. There's a family resemblance.
Are there other guests that'd like to be recognized? I have a guest coming, and he's not here yet, but his name is Isaac Newton. Isn't that interesting? But that's his actually, oh yeah, and one more over here, Richard. There's another guest right here. Here we go, right here.
Come on in.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Marco Mimbella. I am visiting today. I've just recently moved back to the Dallas, Fort Worth area. For the past 8 years, I was in New Jersey. I was getting my PhD in health sciences at Seton Hall University. Indirectly or directly, I've been involved with Rotary my whole life. My parents have been lifetime members. My grandpa, my dad, Paul Harris Fellows. So when they saw that Park Cities were meeting at MAGGIANO'S, which is 20 minutes from where we currently stay, they suggested I come and introduce myself and just, start shaking hands. So here I am, and thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much. And my guest is right over here, Isaac Stand. If you don't mind, that's Isaac Newton, and he's my guest today. And be sure to say hello to him. If you'd like to say something about yourself, you can do that too. Isaac.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for having me. Nolan, of course, for the invite. This is my second time to the Rotary Club. Always made some great connections here, and I'm here to help anyone out that I can. I'm essentially coming from the commercial real estate space, but I've linked up with Nolan, Biz Buy Sell, CoStar, and worked with a ton of M&A and business brokers throughout the last 3 years. So definitely will be able to help you scale on a business aspect, digital marketing. So anyone would like to connect, Nolan and I would always love to help you out.
Isaac is going to be working with me in DBG Advisors, so appreciate Isaac being here today. Mark?
Thank you. I just saw Cleve walk in, so good thing you're here. Thanks for being here today. Our marketplace advertiser today is Cleve Clinton. Excuse me. Past President Cleve is a board-certified civil trial attorney who represents families navigating business and generational transitions and risk-taking mavericks at the full-service law firm of Gray Reed in Dallas. Whether he's serving as lead counsel in one of the growing number of fiduciary litigation claims within family businesses, or advising a family in transition, Cleve's focus is always the same: understanding and achieving the client's goals, either in or out of the courtroom. When a deal or controversy requires a multidisciplinary approach, Cleve assembles a team of Gray Reed lawyers and other professionals with a perfectly matched skill set, whether it's tax, employment, real estate, construction, regulatory, and then he quarterbacks the strategic planning and tactical execution every step of the way. Cleve takes pride in striking the perfect balance between legal strategy and a client's practical goals, all the while minimizing family conflict. He's also a regular contributor on the firm's blog, Tilting the Scales, so make sure to check that out on our website. I always read it when I see it come through LinkedIn or email. It's always informative. He's also an AV-rated attorney, which is the highest rating in legal ability and ethical standards, as we would expect from a past president and a Rotarian. I added this. We all know Cleve has been instrumental in many club initiatives, including the Legacy of Leadership program, which has been very successful. He's a 4th level Paul Harris Fellow, and he has been one of my, the last 9 years in the club, one of my mentors that I look up to as far as leadership in this club, and I think a lot of other people could say the same. So let's thank Cleve Clinton today, our marketplace advertiser.
And we have a special opportunity today to hear a membership minute from Patty Schwab. So Patty, come on up here, and if you'd like to hold this microphone, or you could use this one on that one. Okay.
I got to tell you, I don't like coming after a Toastmaster and before a broadcaster, so I won't be nearly as interesting. But I'm Patty Schwab, and I'm here to bring you our membership minute, brought to you by +2. And so our Legacy of Leadership cohort last year, our project was to improve attraction and retention of new members to achieve an annual net gain of 2 members. That's a probably long-winded way of saying, let's end the year with more members than we started. So we did a lot of discussion about what number should be our goal and how did we come across this +2. We kind of looked at trends, membership trends in the past couple years, and some years we gained members, some years we lost members. And so this is it doesn't seem very lofty, but it is, we're gonna work very hard to achieve this goal this year. So I'm very grateful that we are having this membership minute as part of our monthly agenda, because it will remind us to keep our eye on the ball about we need to recruit, but we also need to retain our members. And our cohort also discussed a lot of ways in which we can do that, and we hope we can kind of convey that to you over the next couple of months with some of our ideas. Today, I just want to point out to you some of the resources that we have, and I put a few of these things on your table. We have Rotary Basics, and we have a little card. Let's see. Do you have, Sarah, that card right there? Can you hold that up? Okay, these are kind of just like general information about Rotary. One of them is about Rotary International, and then the card is specific to our club. And I don't know about you all, but a lot of times when I tell people about Rotary, they say, oh yeah, that's a business club. And I say, well, yes, but it kind of, the business piece of it kind of fits into our larger purpose, which is service and friendship and community. So this is our job, is to convey what our purpose is. And so that's kind of the recruitment piece. The other interesting piece is this little piece here, composed by Jeff McNaughton, I believe, President Jeff. And it is a kind of a list of our accomplishments last year. It's kind of a list of all the things that we did, and it's really, really impressive. And so I think when you're getting towards the time where you're gonna re-up your membership and pay your dues, take a look at this and be proud that this is what our club does and so much more. So these materials are available. We'll try to make them available to you at our Friday meetings, and if you have any questions about how we can recruit members or how you'd like to get involved, we're happy to help out with that. So thank you. It's wonderful to see all these guests. Thank you for taking your time to be here. And thank you to our new members, especially our newest member. Thank you for joining our club. It's wonderful. And thank you to all of you, because you're great ambassadors for our club. So give yourselves a hand. Thank you.
Susan Glenn is going to come up and give us an announcement about our packing day, North Texas Food Bank Packing Day. Susan? Walking in at exactly the right time.
I'm out of breath, but I'm here. I literally just walked in the door. But Casey was ready to help out if I didn't get here in time. Okay, deep breath. First of all, I want to thank everyone for signing up. We hit our record. 30 people are coming tomorrow. Yay! So give yourself a hand. As you know, this is such an important, they're all important, but this hunger is one of our 3 top strategic initiatives in the North Texas Food Bank. And last year alone, North Texas Food Bank served over 1.8 million meals through the school pantries in 40 sites, 20 counties, or no, 13, she's gonna correct me, Tricia, in 13 counties. So this is a big deal. And it takes all of us, it takes a community to make a difference and really eradicate hunger. So thank you guys, we'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. And if anyone missed it and still wants to come see me after lunch, I can get you started.
Thank you. I think it's Susan's birthday from what I've been understood, so happy birthday, Susan. Robin Lynn is going to come up and give her new member speech at this time.
Okay, hi, my name is Robin Lynn, and a little bit background about me. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. Good, I think Dallas people are... Can you all hear me now? My name's Robin Lynn. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I just joined in December, January. I graduated from University of Colorado at Boulder with honors. I grew up with, there was 4 girls in my family, my poor dad, but he loved having daughters. I have 2 grown children, one 32-year-old daughter and a 25-year-old son who's a DJ and an excellent DJ. And as a mom, I have to tell everyone, if anyone needs a DJ services. My career has been in lots of media except TV. I've been in lots of radio stations, Dallas Times-Herald, Dallas that's how I know Kathy originally. Dallas Morning News, a lot of digital marketing, which I still do with what I do right now. I publish a magazine for Greek University Park residents, which is all about them. I'm in 35 other affluent neighborhoods. I handle all of them. We're all over the country. It's an interesting concept to kind of come back to print, but I also offer any kind of digital products too, who I think one of our visitors was doing too. I'm actually now relaunching, about 10 years ago I had a publication called Savvy, Restaurants, Hotel, Resorts magazine. I'm bringing it back electronically. It's for the hospitality trade, and it's all about the hospitality trade. So it's all about the people, not really how great of a Caesar salad they make. But I was considered the hospitality trade publication before, and I'm hoping to bring it back. I learned a lot of networking with that. I belong to the Chef, Hotel, and Restaurant Associations in Dallas and Fort Worth, which were totally 2 different meetings. They dressed differently, talked differently, set it up. But because of my networking, I wanted to get back into it, so I ended up joining the North Dallas Chamber, which is nice, but then I also joined the Park Cities Rotary. And I am so pleasantly surprised how welcoming, how warm. And I joined to network, try and get more business, but y'all do so many good things. I'm signed up for the food bank, which I had done years ago, but now I'm finally back to it. That's a really fun event, and you're helping lots of families. So I love the 4-way test and everything that it, telling the truth, being truthful with people, inclusive. In today's world, I think that it's really gone crazy, and I love that we're kind of going back to that's how to treat people and be together. So I really am glad I joined, and the more I'm a member, the more I'm enjoying it. So thank you very much. Is that short enough?
Thank you, Robin. Uh-oh.
And I just started using electric rollers and obviously don't know how to use them yet.
Robin, I've been having the same problem. Just a couple of brief announcements very quickly. Monday is our program committee meeting that's going to be held at the Moody YMCA between 6 and 7:30 or 8, something like that. And everyone in this room is invited to come. Richard is providing gourmet pizza. Gourmet, email him so he has enough pizza for the program committee meeting. And that's going to be a great time, so please do that. Please come, because everybody's responsible for the great programs that we have here at Park Cities Rotary. And then secondly, the Rough Riders ball game is on the 26th of April, And just reach out to Happy. She's been sending out emails about that if you'd like to attend that as well. Now, the raffle drawing is coming up, and let's see, who's running that? I think it's, Nate is doing it, okay. You're doing double duty today. All right. Joe, would you mind picking a card out of this? He's going to hold it over his head so you cannot cheat and give something to Jeff. There you go. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, look at your little coupons here. The number is 247-0387. Who has that? All right, Eric. Come on up, Eric. And as you know, you're going to have to choose out of this deck of cards the ace of spades. And if you receive that, the pot is how much now? Does anyone know? Over $1,000.
Millions, right?
Over $1,000, and he would get half of that to do with as he wishes, hopefully giving it back to us. But that would be the...
No pressure.
No pressure there at all. Pick a card.
Gee, do I want the ace of spades? I think I do. Ooh, so close.
He has a souvenir of the 4 of spades that he gets to take with him as for his reward today. So thank you so much, Eric. Appreciate that. Now, I want to call on Jeff Brady to come and introduce our speaker.
All right, thanks, Nolan. We are in for such a treat today. I'm so delighted to be here with all of you and with our special guest. Some of you may know, may even remember, Joe Trahan joined Channel 8, came to the DFW area in June of 2003. Can you believe it's been that long? June of 2003. And of course, he's been a fixture on the local sports scene for more than half of his nearly 30-year career in TV news. And my wife reminded me, and I was talking to Joe about this, when he first moved here, of course, that's when we first met, and my wife and I invited him and his wife, Amy, to come over and have dinner, just kind of to welcome to the community, welcome to Dallas, glad to have you here. So I've been inviting Joe to have meals with me apparently for some time, and this is just another in a long trend. The native Houstonian began his career in '89 while he was still in college at Loyola. As a senior, he worked the overnight shift as a news writer on the mighty WWL in New Orleans, highly successful, their morning show. And then he was a writer then, and his on-air sports career began at WCBD TV in Charleston, South Carolina. Salute. And included a return to New Orleans 9 years later at WVUE, where he was soon named sports director. Since joining WFAA, Joe's covered, you name it, title runs with the Rangers, the Mavericks, including the Mavericks' magical run that ended in a championship back in 2011. And then another local team did the same last year, so we might hear a little bit about that. He's still waiting on something similar from the Cowboys and the Stars. So he can address that. Hey, Stars are looking good. Stars are looking good. Okay. Hey, he's also a big music fan. He enjoys the sounds of Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind, and Fire, don't we all, and Sting. But as the father of 2 daughters, he knows more about Taylor Swift than you would ever think. So help me give a warm Rotary welcome to Joe Trahan.
Yeah, thanks so much, you guys. I appreciate you guys welcoming me to the club in such a warm way. It's been fantastic already. Before I get going, though, I do want to show my gratitude and appreciation for what you guys do as Rotarians, because that service aspect of what you do and helping our community is absolutely what gets me up every day. It's what I'm about. Yes, I do TV, and I love sports, and I cover it, and it's what I do, but my family and my community is more important than any of that will ever be. So in the Trahan household, the way I was raised, I was born into a Catholic family. The golden rule was uber important, and you guys reinforce that with what you do, so I feel like I am around like-minded people, and it's fantastic. So thank you, for starters. Yes. I will share a little bit more about my origin story. Jeff did a fantastic job, but I will share a little bit more about my origin story. I will admit it is a little difficult because about 20 years ago, it was really hard for me to kind of speak about myself, right? And I call it sometimes in what we do self-aggrandize, right? That's always been difficult for me. But I worked with the great Dale Hansen for nearly 20 years. And I have become pretty good at it because I served at the beck and call of the master of that pursuit. No, I'm just kidding. Jeff Brady asked for a Dale Hansen joke, and that's my Dale Hansen joke. And the truth is, that was just a setup. I love talking about myself. All you have to do is ask my wife. So Jeff mentioned, I was very fortunate. When I was in New Orleans at Loyola University, I actually started in pre-med. And my sophomore year, I came up against a class that was called Inorganic Quantitative Analysis. It was a weed-out course, and I submit to you that I felt like I had a shot of Roundup put in my brain when I tried to figure out all that stuff. So that weeded me out from studying pre-med. But you know what? The good Lord had a plan for me, and it was the right plan all along. I just had to find it. I am doing what I was put here to do, and as you guys can tell who watch, I hope it comes across how much I enjoyed doing it. When I was there at Loyola, and Jeff mentioned that overnight show that I worked. So this was, I started there just before my senior year, that summer before. I worked as a production assistant at WWL, and think WFAA of New Orleans. That's what WWL was. Legacy station, one of the best CBS affiliates in the entire country. So I start there not knowing what to expect, and I do that production assistant role for that summer. At the end of that summer, the assistant news director says, Joe, we really like what you've done. Some of the writing that you've done seems really well thought out. We have a plan for you, but I'm going to let you know it's not going to be easy. And I was like, okay, well, what's the idea? We want you to be a writer and assistant producer for our morning show. Now, you guys, this morning show in New Orleans, Louisiana, was the best morning show in the country. 90% of the people, 90% of the people who had televisions on watched this morning show. Unprecedented stuff, literally the best in the country. So I said, okay, that sounds great. He goes, yeah, your hours are going to be midnight until 8 a.m. And I said, you do know I've got to go to class once the fall semester starts, right? And he goes, yeah, we think you can do it. Are you up for it? And I went, yes. And it's the smartest thing I've ever done. I learned under two anchors who you wouldn't know, but they're titans in the business, Andre Trevine and Eric Paulson. I still joke with Eric Paulson and call him my broadcast dad. He took me under his wing, as did Andre. As a very young person in this business, I was treated to the best the business had to offer in terms of how you cover stories, how you write stories, how you gather information, all the things I needed as foundation I was given there in New Orleans. And it served me so well because I was able to leapfrog all of the other people who were kind of in my talent pool at that time. After I worked on that morning show for a year, they decided, I don't know why, to put me on television there in New Orleans. Now, I wasn't a reporter on the 6 o'clock show or the 10 o'clock show at night. No, they put me on television, and again, it was one of those same sort of conversations. Joe, we think this is going to be great for you and your career. Well, we don't know if you're going to like it. They put me on television from midnight until 5 a.m. in the morning doing news cut-ins. I was on for 2 minutes, every hour on the hour. This is kind of when 24-hour news just started with CNN and all that kind of stuff. So this was a local TV station trying to combat that. And they're like, how can we do this really cheap without having to pay anybody? Hey, Joe can do it. So the news director, who has become and was a mentor at the time, he said, listen, Joe, you're going to do this for a few months, and you're going to get a job at a small market, and your career is going to be off and running. Sure enough, I did all those cut-ins, and it wasn't 3-4 months later that I got my first job in Charleston, South Carolina, as a weekend sports anchor / sports reporter, and that's when the career really began and really took off. I did that, it was a 3-year contract. At the end of that 3 years, there were 2 different television stations in New Orleans that wanted to hire me back. The one, obviously, that I was at before. But then because of the way I comported myself when I would be out in public doing work as an intern or a production assistant, one of the other TV stations wanted to hire me as well. And I remember my agent, who I hired and never should have, but he goes, okay, Joe, who are you? You're 22 years old and you have a bidding war already. I don't know who you are, but here we go. We're off and running. I ended up going to WVUE. It was the ABC affiliate at the time, and then it ended up being the Fox affiliate. Again, New Orleans was one of those great sports cities, right? Saints fans were great, but again, you had big-time events coming there. The Super Bowl is still on heavy rotation there. The Final Fours would come, so it was a great way to really spread my wings, and I became sports director there after a few years. And as that market, from a business standpoint, started shrinking, I decided, okay, we need to make the next move. I thought that might be to Houston, but I knew it was either going to be Houston or Dallas. Made a couple calls. Next thing you know, I was speaking to, Jeff, you'll remember, a very close friend of mine was friends with Jose Gant, who's titan in the industry, and he was the assistant sports director at WFAA. As serendipity would have it, there was a crew from WFAA who was coming to New Orleans for the Final Four that same year. This was 2 weeks after I made that initial call. That was the year that Syracuse won with Carmelo Anthony leading the way. So I meet all these people from WFAA. 2 days later, I have a call, an interview. I'm in Hanson's office, and about 3 or 4 days later, my career started at WFAA. And it's been the most fulfilling 21 years of my life. I don't know where those 21 years went. My wife, as Jeff said, was pregnant at the time. That daughter is 20 years old, and our other one is graduating from high school this year. So that's the origin story. That's how I came to be here. I am enjoying this portion of my career fantastically so, because we are in one of, if not, I would put it up against any sports market in the country, and you could even expand that outwards around the globe. If you think about what's going on here now, and by the way, if you have any questions, please raise your hand, interrupt, free flow discussion, please. I feel like we are in, because we all like to think about the good old days, the good old days. Listen, you guys, for sports in our area, I think we're entering what will be looked back upon as a golden age. And I'll pull the curtain all the way back. I was in my office 2 days ago. I've taken off some time this week, knowing that the Mavericks and Stars are about to start dueling playoff runs. But I was sitting in my home office a couple of days ago, and I was planning out everything that's going on. Hey, if you want me to answer that, I can. I can. Joe Trahan, can I help you? No, sorry. So we're starting this incredible time where the Mavericks are in the playoffs. You guys, they're the team that no one wants to play right now because they have gotten their act together. They play defense. It's fun to watch. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving together are incredible. The Stars might get us a cup again this year. They're the top team in the Western Conference. They have this fantastic blend of young talent and older talent. Joe Pavelski, who is one of the grizzled veterans on that team, actually has 2 of the younger players living with him, Stankoven and Wyatt Johnston. And those 2 young guys are soaking up all that veteran experience and great wisdom. They're playing great. And then you have these players who were young stars like Robertson, Miro Heiskanen. These guys are growing up, so it's a fantastic blend of talent. They're going to be incredible. All right, so I kept going down this list. You have your defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. Yes, indeed. I grew up in Houston. I used to be a Astros fan. I am no longer because I don't like cheaters. Go Rangers. So you've got that. But I'm really just beginning this spiel, you guys, because it only keeps going. We're 2 weeks away from the CJ Cup. Byron Nelson, they've got a brand new sponsor. They've been out at TPC Craig Ranch now for 4 years. The Nelson is back. It's more fun. It's as fun as it's always been. Okay? Caitlin Clark. I'm sure you've seen, who's seen Caitlin Clark? Everyone, right? She's just incredible collegiate women's basketball player. Her career is going to begin here in North Texas. Yes, So, what are you talking about? Her very first game, it's a preseason game against the Dallas Wings on May 3rd. Her career is going to begin right here. Then after that, we've got the Colonial Golf Tournament. Colonial has completely renovated their golf course. Brand new golf course. Let's see, what am I? Oh, I'm not going to forget college baseball, TCU, Texas A&M. Jeff Brady made me say that, right? Gig him, he made me say that. Incredible stuff. It's all going on right now. SMU beginning play in the ACC. Florida State will be playing football here next year. Florida State will be coming to SMU. Dawn of a new era. There's going to be a lot more resources. It's going to be fantastic over at SMU. Scotty Scheffler, you want to talk Park Cities? You want to talk Highland Park? Huh? Yes? Listen, this guy is playing, and I am a golfer at heart. Scotty is playing as well in terms of striking the golf ball as anyone has played since Tiger Woods at the height of his powers back around 2001. Scotty's playing that well, and he has the ability and the mental makeup to go on a protracted run. Quick fact about Scotty Scheffler, after he won his first Masters, and this is a total pat on the back to myself, but I'm going to share it with you because it's why I love Scotty. After he won his first Masters, he did two one-on-one interviews. The first one-on-one interview he did was with Scott Van Pelt. You've probably seen him on ESPN. Can you guess who the other interview was with? I love Scotty Scheffler. I've been knowing his coach is Randy Smith over at Royal Oaks. I've been knowing Randy from the first time he saw me at a golf tournament. Randy Smith came up to me and he said, "Joe, I see that you're new to the market. I hear that you're a pretty good golfer." I said, "Well, I'm not as good as the golfers who have been around you, Randy, but I do love the game. I love the game." He goes, "All right, great. Here's my number." Listen, top 100 teacher. I'd been reading about this man in my golf magazines. I'd been in this market for literally 3 weeks. And he comes up and he says, "Here's my number. If the big fella gives you any crap, you call me and I'll kick his ass for you." Talking about Hanson. So Randy Smith, great friend, and he is the coach of Scotty Scheffler. So, I mean, it's just been a fantastic story. And listen, everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there's an incredible sports story that is happening, because I haven't even looked further down the road when the World Cup is going to be right here in our front yard, and it is going to be spectacular. Listen, I know that we're not a soccer-first country, but you're going to see the global impact that this game has, the economic impact when that tournament comes here, and we get all those games, including a semifinal game, will be watershed. It will be absolutely incredible. So I submit to you, with all these things I've said, that I am so blessed and fortunate that I don't have to look back towards the good old days, because I get to live them. And oh, by the way, WFAA pays me to do it. So it's as good as it gets. That's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys today. I would love to open it up to questions. That would be great, because, and I'll tell you why I love to open it up to questions, because I live my life in a transparent way, and I love to share it. And I'm happy that I do. Not everyone in my business can say that.
I don't know if it was last night or night before, really enjoyed y'all giving Delka so much cred about his
We like to
thing.
do it.
It was really good. Can you give your thoughts on college football, NIL, transfer portal, and the like?
Yeah, when it comes to name, image, and likeness with college football and the transfer portal, we are literally living in the wild, wild west, right? Our roots in terms of football in this area and in our state are in the Southwest Conference. So, you know, paying players under the table, it's nothing new. And if you have SMU backgrounds, I'm sorry what Hanson did to you. Because everyone was doing it. But listen, it is the Wild Wild West now, and they've kind of opened up the doors for it to happen in a quasi-above-board way. And here's what I think about it. I think the players do deserve some of some of these dollars, because these college sports have become such big business. I do think that there needs to be a better way to try and keep a handle on how it happens. I don't think they've found it yet. I think they will, because there are a lot of very smart people who are trying to work to try and make it work better, and I hope they do. Because right now, I think it is bad for college sports, and we see this in college basketball, men's college basketball the most, when the kids keep moving around so much, right, to the point that me, a sportscaster, whose job it is to keep up with these kids, it's difficult now, right? And when the NCAA, think about when the NCAA tournament just came around and you're trying to fill out your bracket. You're like, all right, who, you mentioned Seton Hall back there. Who's the best player on Seton Hall again? Oh, yeah, that's right, so-and-so, right? So I don't think it's great, and I think there's work that needs to be done.
What's the mechanism of what finally ends up being the story of the day? Who initiates it, and what kind of committee has to approve it?
Okay, I have an answer that lasts about 24 hours. You want that one? No, kidding. It's incredibly complicated. And I laugh because I get email from everyone, right? I get email from the A&M fans who think I don't care about the Aggies. I get email from the Texas fans who think I root for the Aggies. I get email from the SMU fans who think I root for TCU, and the TCU fans who think I root for SMU. And that's when I know I'm doing it correctly, because I have a finite amount of time with an infinite amount of information that I could share. So I have to lean on, first and foremost, I'm a broadcaster, and I'm trying to cast the widest net, right? And that's why you see so much Cowboys coming out of my mouth, because it moves the needle unlike anything, for better or for worse, that we have in our market, right? And then beyond that, I have to decide what impacts the most amount of people. But then beyond that, and I make a point of this, an absolute point of it, beyond that, I owe a responsibility to my community. So those high school stories that you see, when Texas Women's College that just won a national championship in basketball might not be the biggest story with the most amount of people, but when they have overarching achievement in whatever level of sport they are, I have to include that, because that's the glue that I think holds our community together. So listen, it is a difficult task, because as I mentioned, all the great things we have going on, there are a lot of days when I would love to give you more golf. I would, and the stories warrant, but there are other important things going on, and I have to make those calls. And we all do. We all do. With the news department, it's an ensemble cast that makes those decisions. But somebody has the final say-so. And most of the time, that's yours truly.
First, I want to apologize for that. Was a phone call I took was from Dale Hansen. Okay.
See, he's got the listening device always. I love that. Great comeback.
And as a matter of fact, Dale has spoken to the club here
yes.
at least on 2 occasions, and very different speaker. We all acknowledge that. I
you think?
This is totally off the interest of sports, but having lived in New Orleans, my question for you is the 2 top restaurants, in your opinion, in New Orleans.
That's a great question. All right, you want to talk about talking all day. I am going to go off the beaten path a little bit, because this is my favorite restaurant in New Orleans. It's a place called Jacquemo's, right? This chef was so good, he ended up opening up a store in New York City, right? But I knew Jacques of Jacquemo's, and it is just the most fantastic fusion of Creole and Cajun fare and other things. Alligator cheesecake is a dish. It's a quiche that he makes that he calls alligator cheesecake, and he just puts his spin on all the different restaurants. So Jacquemo's is #1. And you probably won't get that from a lot of people who are from New Orleans, but I would submit to you, if you go to Jacquemo's on a Friday night at 8:30 at night and you sit there for the next 2 hours, you will have one of the best meals of your entire life. And the ambiance of that restaurant, because it's a step up from a hole in the wall. The ambiance and everything else that surrounds it is fantastic. #1, Jacquemo's. And then I do go traditional. when my wife and I were there, we did birthdays and anniversaries at Commander's Palace, right? And I am not making this up. Listen, as you can tell, I love food. I had dreams about their bread pudding souffle. It is one of the most fantastic things that has ever touched my lips. I mean, incredible stuff. So Jackie Moses first, Commander's Palace is second. Yeah, I can be a food critic too if...
Joe, thanks for taking the time to come visit us. But I'm curious, has there been a embarrassing moment in your broadcast that's now funny? Maybe not at the time, it was not so funny, but embarrassing that you weathered through that.
Yeah, I have too many to choose from, first of all, but I would say this. I have changed the way I used to try and be perfect on TV, and Jeff will have a real perception of this. I used to try to be perfect, right? My mom was an English teacher. I was blessed that she reinforced the absolute king's English growing up in the Trahan household. I was blessed by it. It's why I have the career I have today. And so I wanted to always do everything perfect. In our business, perfection, like most things in life, is so unattainable, and the pursuit of it can drive you to distraction, which it has many times, especially on air. Because I used to let one little flub just, oh my God, it's not a perfect show. What am I doing up here? Goodness gracious, Trahan, you prepared, you still weren't perfect. Well, as we all know, that's not how communication works, right? Those small little nuances, things that you don't get exactly right, that's your humanity, and that's what people relate with. Once in my relatively advanced age, I figured that out. Things got a lot easier in terms of like making flubs and not having the cleanest performance, right? So I don't worry about those anymore. But it's one of the most embarrassing time, I'll tell you. Back in New Orleans, we used to tape, you know, at the very beginning of the show, there's an open and we do all these cool, there's music and there's tonight in the headlines, whatever. Back there, we would end the open with a shot of all the anchors on the anchor desk, and we would tape it at about 30 minutes before the show. The director was one of my closest friends, and he kept messing up the shot. We took the shot. Normally this would take about 15 seconds to do. One shot, stand by, camera four, bye-bye, you're up, you're hot, bye-bye, bye-bye. All right, we're done. Well, I don't know what he was doing that day, but on the 5th try of something that normally takes one time, I got in my mic and I said, hey, what's going on up there? What on earth are you guys doing? And I just started laughing. So he messed up again. So after that time, I said, you know what? I looked at my co-anchors. I said, I'm going to mess up on purpose. So he does the shot. I turn and I lick my tongue into the camera. I lick my tongue out at him. That son of a gun put it on TV that night. He put it on TV that night. And we laughed about it so hard. And I'm like, you did that on purpose? He goes, I may have. So it was New Orleans. He bought drinks at the bar that night. But needless to say, I couldn't have been more embarrassed.
All right.
And I don't think I've ever done anything like that since.
All right. Nate gets a question, and Scurry gets the last one.
All right.
Joe, I was wondering what your thoughts were about Mayor Johnson trying to recruit the Kansas City Chiefs here to Dallas.
I'm sorry, is that the last question, or do we have one more? No, seriously. It's not going to happen, and there's a family in Highland Park that's going to make sure that that doesn't happen. I think I'll leave it at that. The Hunt family will be just fine in Kansas City.
So sports are one of our biggest blessings. To participate in sports and recreational activities is so important. But I must ask, with the concussion epidemic, with young ladies playing soccer from heading the ball, and in football going with our young men, is it better to have football started at a higher age, closer to college, and for ladies to have a no heading rule or use a lighter ball or something? These are big epidemics that people don't like to talk about.
I think it's a great question. Back when this became a hot button topic in the NFL, we were very proactive in terms of trying to get information out there. We did an hour-long show talking about the effects of concussions and what can happen. I do like the fact that the NFL has changed the way that they hit each other. They've changed not using the top, the crown, they call it, of the helmet. And it's amazing to me how players have adapted, because when those rules first came out, I remember people saying, oh, well, they've been hitting this way all the time. That's asking too much. And listen, a year and a half later, they were able to adapt, and we don't see those types of hits as much. You'll also see this year in the NFL, be prepared, they're going to change the way that they do kickoffs, completely change it, right? They're going to line up the guys between the 40 and the 30-yard lines of the receiving team. The kicker's going to be back there by himself. He'll kick it up, and then no one can move until the receiver of the kickoff catches it. They're trying. It's going to be completely changed. If you've had the joy of watching the USFL at all, they've done it in the USFL. They did the beta testing there, and it's going to come to the NFL. So they are working to try and make it safer for players. There's two things, though, in terms of trying to have kids start playing football younger. They do need to learn the skills of how to hit, see what you hit, make sure you don't use your head at a little bit younger age. So I do think trying to hold them off till older, that might not have the best effect. So I don't necessarily think that's the way to go. In terms of heading, you're right. I don't know if I'm not sure where UIL stands now in terms of no heading, but I'm fine with that for both the girls and the boys, because there's not enough research in terms of all those subconcussive blows and what they can do long term. Yeah. Yeah. Well, but good question. But here's the deal. If you do kick it into the end zone, I think they're going to get it further down the field at the 35-yard line. So it will be absolutely penalizing if they do kick the touchback. So, yeah, your concern has been taken into account, for sure.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for having us, or coming with
Thank you, guys.
being with
Thank
us
you.
today. And a book will be placed in the McShann Elementary School in your name and in your honor for being here with us today. That's not much of a paycheck, but that's a good thing. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next week, we have our speaker will be Sonia Parker Good, the Grant Hillerburton Foundation, and Jeff Brady will be our chair of the day. Appreciate you, Jeff. And Mark Casher will come now and lead us in the four-way test. Let's all stand.
Thank you, Nolan. Please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you all for being here. Well, I got two